Who gives a shit if your collection's at risk? I'm sorry. I don't give a shit about anybody who's like, but the value of my Magic the Gathering card. No, it's a game. It is a game. Cards being less expensive is a good thing for the health of the game, because more people get to play the game. Let's talk about Magic the Gathering, and let's also talk about the fact that chat has forced me into a Sonic onesie, so for the next few videos, you're going to be seeing this, for better or worse. I don't like it any more than you do. But let's get into the fan art section before we talk about Tim Pool freaking out about Magic the Gathering stuff. Butler Hero, thank you for the follow. First up, we have one from XLR. Your eyes do not lie, Suris. It is indeed a werecat, Suris. And now the furry population that watches your content has doubled. I'm way too tired for this. The next one we have here is from Perpagillium. Sings Jello. It's Aliiive. It's alive. It's alive. Yeah. That would be an alive Jello, Suris. As always, everybody, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want to drop your fan art into if you want your fan art shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop your fan art into the fan art section of the Discord. I'm getting tripped up over my words because I am the stupid. Anyway, guys, Tim Pool. We got to talk about Tim Pool. He's got words to say.
There is a strong indicator of cultural decay in Magic the Gathering. Ah, yes. For those that aren't familiar, it is, or was, the most popular card game. It, I believe, launched trading card games was the first. So I could be wrong about this, but I think like shows like Yu-Gi-Oh! Are based off of Magic the Gathering, essentially. Magic is a good example of getting woke and going broke, and a system being gutted and decayed by the mechanization, the corporate machine, the sterilization. Let me tell you all the story.
So I guess we'll get into this in a second, but dear God, the hyperbole is making it very hard to get through this. How's it going, Razorstorm? How's it going, Razorstorm? So, I'm just gonna go and say this right now. What the fuck does going woke and going broke even mean anymore? 90% of media that is successful still does shit that is considered going... Like, what is Magic doing that's considered going woke? Is it because there's more black people in it now? Like what does that mean? Razorstorm says, I still have a job, but what the hell is the crap? I don't know. Classic centrist ideology, go rogue, grow broke. The only thing I can think of is the Pride secret layer. Yeah, that's it, really? All I can think on. But let's go ahead and see if Tim gets to the fucking point.
We got this news. It's actually like a week old or so. A lot of people have talked about it. Magic the Gathering cards worth over $200,000 dumped in a landfill. In what may be the worst nightmare of Magic the Gathering collectors and players come to life, a landfill has become the permanent home of cards, packs, and sets valued at over $200,000.
Except for that's all been recovered. There was a player who actually found the landfill and went ahead and picked up all the shit that was in the landfill. The landfill actually had several sets of Modern Horizons 2. Now, for those who don't know, Modern Horizons 2 is a set that was released about 2 fucking years ago. Modern Horizons 2 was a set that was overprinted. So overprinted that it tanked the price of several cards that were in the set. Now, granted, some of those cards needed to tank. Like, fucking the fetch lands that were printed in that set needed to have their prices go down. Scalding Tarns were getting to over $100. They needed to be dropped down to the fucking $20 they finally managed to drop down to, thanks to that set. I'm not saying the prices tanking was a bad thing, but an overprinting of cards landing in a landfill, this is a standard-ass thing that happens whenever a company is overprinting, and we know Wizards is overprinting because once upon a time, Wizards of the Coast printed one set every 3 months, and that's what we used for Standard and then every other format for Magic the Gathering. Now, Wizards releases a new set every month, it seems, along with a lot of supplementary product. Just this year, we've had Phyrexia All Will Be One. We've had multiple different versions of that set popping out. Earlier, we had the introduction of Brothers War. I believe that was in December. And we are literally going to have March of the Machines here in just another month. And then shortly after that, we are going to have the Lord of the Rings set coming into Magic the Gathering. Within a month or two, each new thing is coming out, and that used to not be the case. Oh, I forgot, we also had Jumpstart. We had Brothers War, then we had Jumpstart, then we had Phyrexia All Will Be One, all literally a month apart from one another, and then once we hit the end of March, we're going to have March of the Machine coming in early April, and then, like I said, we're going to have Lord of the Rings set. Magic players have been fatigued by the amount of shit that Wizards of the Coast has been. Oh yeah, fuck it, I forgot! We had Dominaria Remastered as well! I forgot! We had that in January! What the fuck? I completely forgot about that! We've had so much shit printed to us that we barely have any idea. Oh yeah, right, I forgot. In between the Lord of the Rings set and March of the Machines, we're getting an epilogue set called March of the Machines Aftermath. I'm sorry, silly me. I forgot that Wizards of the Coast is overprinting so much that despite the fact that Magic the Gathering is an interest of mine that I happen to love dearly, like, when I say that, I mean, this quiver contains my Pioneer decks, and out in the living room there are 24 Commander decks that are all fine-tuned. All of them. Don't worry, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about where Magic's concerned. It's not like I play Standard and Pioneer and Modern and also Commander. It's not like I live and breathe this goddamn game every weekend. No. I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Tim, Magic overproducing shit is the reason they are running into issues right now. That's it. Said all I know is I know all those except Pioneer. What's that? I play Yu-Gi-Oh! Not Magic. Pioneer is the format that exists from 2012 or 2015. The Return to Ravnica set up till modern day with no supplementary sets. That's Pioneer. Anyway.
Magic the Gathering is owned by Hasbro.
Yeah?
I believe I think it's Wizards of the Coast, and then Wizards was bought by Hasbro.
Yeah?
And many of you may not be familiar with it. If you're not familiar with the game, just know that I'm going to be speaking generally about cultural decay, using Magic the Gathering as a backdrop.
How the fuck is Magic the Gathering an example of cultural decay? Exactly how, Tim? What kind of fucking dumb shit take do you have today?
The reason I know about this is that I played Magic the Gathering and stopped several years ago. And so I want to tell you my story in a...
So wait a minute. You stopped several years ago, so all of the stuff that's been happening recently with the overprinting, you stopped before Hasbro started kicking that into high gear, because the overprinting that we're experiencing now for Magic began with Zendikar Rising, if memory serves. We had Zendikar Rising, and then we had Commander Legends, and then the machine started rolling and picking up. It was when Magic started its shift away from competitive Standard and Modern, and Pioneer was just a new format at the time. It was when they took their sights away from the competitive stuff and started focusing on Commander. Now, here's the thing about Commander as a format. Commander is a format that anybody can get into for a very small amount of money. Very, very small amount of money. You can build a good Commander deck for $50, $100 if you're wanting to splurge on it, especially monocolor decks. Commander's not an expensive format. We've built several $50 decks here on stream. When Wizards decided to change their focus to Commander, they started overprinting stuff, because Wizards realized that they needed to be reprinting cards because Commander is what's called an eternal format. Eternal formats mean that every card that has ever been printed from the start of the legal date of the format till now is legal, not counting banned cards. I understand if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player, the only thing you know is eternal formats, but if you're a Pokemon player or a Magic player, you know the difference between a rotating format and an eternal format. Rotating formats have sets that come out that are new, and then old sets drop off and they're no longer legal. It's a way to keep you playing newer stuff. Because Commander was an eternal format, there were cards that players wanted to have access to that were too expensive because they had not been printed in years. As an example, one of the more popular cards in the color black for Magic the Gathering is Phyrexian Arena. That card, just a year ago, was $25. Just 6 months ago was $10. And now is $2. The reason being, Phyrexian Arena started getting printed into the dirt. That's a good thing. Players have access to Phyrexian Arena now. They can use it in their decks without spending a lot of money. That does not mean that the game is dying or there's cultural decay or any of that shit. Wizards was taking a lovely, lovely page out of Konami's book, because Konami, in terms of the competitive card game owners that exist, have been the king of reprints. If you're a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh player, you know the cycle. $100 pot card comes out, pot card needed for deck, $100 pot card becomes $20 pot card when it's printed into a Megatim, and $20 pot card becomes a $5 pot card when it is printed into a structure deck. This happened with Pot of Duality, it's happened with Pot of Prosperity, it's happened with every single pot that has ever been printed since the beginning of the goddamn game. All Wizards did was take a note out of that book. But okay, let's go ahead and continue, Tim. Moral decay through the lens of Magic the Gathering from somebody who doesn't play the goddamn game anymore. Let's go ahead and hear this opinion. I'd love to hear it.
Experiencing the cultural decay. And I want to start by telling you about this story here. How is it that 6 pallets of one of the most popular card games could just be dumped in a landfill and then destroyed?
They weren't then destroyed, though, Tim. They were then recovered by another player who found them, Tim. Also, Tim, do you know how company overmake thing and overmade thing end up in landfill? Do you know how that happened? When overmade thing does not make it to store shelf because store shelf still has thing. So warehouse cannot get rid of thing because store shelf still have thing. Do you know why store shelf still have thing, Tim? Because after Modern Horizons 2, after the initial wave of everybody buying everything from it, when the warehouses started printing more and more of the set and printed more of it to go to various stores, after that happened, we got more sets. After Modern Horizons 2, I believe we got Kaldheim? And after Kaldheim, we had... What the fuck was the set we got after that? Forgotten Realms. We got Forgotten Realms after that. The D&D set. And after the D&D set, we had... What was it? New Capenna? No, there was something between Forgotten Realms and New Capenna. I don't remember what the fuck it was. But there was a thing between Forgotten Realms and New Capenna. The fact is, there were multiple sets released in between them. And because there were multiple sets released in between the release of Modern Horizons 2 and other sets, sometimes stores had a surplus of Modern Horizons 2 and the warehouses couldn't get rid of them. Sometimes when you need to make space for the infinitely more cards you are printing because of the multiple different types of product that have been printed for Phyrexia All Will Be One and March of the Machine and literally everything else, Phyrexia All Will Be One, just that set, has draft boosters, set boosters, collector boosters, decks that are made for it. It also has a regular bundle and what's called a complete bundle. That is a ludicrous amount of product. When the standard for so many years was a set would come out with a fat pack, which is now called a bundle, sometimes would come with a Planeswalker deck, and then a set of draft booster packs. We had 3 products per set, and we had 3 sets per year. That's what we had. Now, a set comes out, and it has 7 to 10 products. And we get a set every month or 2. Because of that, warehouses need to clean out old product. Unfortunately, Tim, Modern Horizons 2 is old product. Do you know why? Because you know what's being printed now, or probably already printed and boxed up and ready to go? The Lord of the Rings set. The Lord of the Rings set is effectively Modern Horizons 3, because it is our modern set, in the same sense that Commander Legends Baldur's Gate. I forgot about Commander Legends Baldur's Gate! That was a thing that happened too! How the fuck could I forget about $70 Ancient Copper Dragons? I forgot about Baldur's Gate as a set. Tim, is it any surprise Is it any surprise at all that a company that is printing so much product would need to get rid of product from its back stock, Tim? Oh, I'm sorry. You don't play the goddamn game anymore. Maybe you might not know about it. Maybe you're just ignorant, or maybe you run a show where you literally have to appeal to the lowest common denominator, centrist dipshit that thinks you make sense. Who knows?
Some people were saying $200,000 to $300,000 worth of cards?
Yeah, 6 pallets. Ever worked at a goddamn Walmart? Do you know what? You're letting facts get in the way of the narrative. Yeah, I know, right? Do you know what 6 pallets looks like, Tim? You know what 6 pallets looks like? 6 pallets looks like 3 hours of work for 8 Walmart employees. That's what that means. That's what that means. That's nothing, Tim. 6 pallets is nothing.
Run over? Destroyed? That's like someone throwing away a house. I think the reality is, the perceived value of these cards, based on the sell price of them, may be that high. But my friends, I would like to tell you a little story about get woke, go broke.
Please don't tell me a story about a economic concept that has never been proven. I hate to tell you this, but the get woke, go broke thing, that has never been proven. Never, ever. You can find anecdotal evidence of certain shows and things that have failed or have been critically panned, but that doesn't mean that they failed because they were woke. Or whatever the fuck woke means. Had a female lead, had a black lead. What the fuck? Black Panther's one of the highest grossing fucking Disney movies that has come out of the Marvel's, MCU project. But okay, yeah, no, get woke, go broke, definitely. Movie very woke, definitely went very broke. Mm-hmm.
Several years ago, there was a card shop. They played Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
And in one of this little cup on a shelf, I think, and it had a Kekistani flag. Do y'all remember what Kekistani flags represent?
Kekistani flags largely are used by people on 4chan that want to LARP the Nazi party. That's why the Kekistan flag looks like a Nazi flag. It was literally grabbed and created as a joke, and then was co-opted, like everything that operates that way on the internet was co-opted. Kekistan literally became a breeding ground, a banner that could be used for any amount of bigoted ideas that existed on Pol, under the guise of it only being jokes.
It was just anti-wokeness. It was a mockery. It was sarcasm.
No, it was never that in the end. Again, the Kekistan flag began as that. It began as an attempt to try to make fun of all these things, but like how the OK sign eventually got co-opted and turned into an actual symbol of white supremacy, anytime you have one of these things, right? Anytime you have one of these ideas, they will get taken. When you say, oh, it was just sarcasm. Right, it was once upon a time. And then it changed and morphed. The original intent of the flag doesn't matter. It's what it ended up representing over time.
But somebody saw it, posted it online, and then this shop got cut off. We've been seeing something in Magic the Gathering.
What do you mean by cut off? What do you mean by cut off? Hold on. Card shop cut off Kekistan flag. Let's see what I can find here. Let's see what I can find here. Nothing? I'm not seeing Jack right now. Is this a real card shop? Hold on. Kekistan flag card shop, Wizards of the Coast. There we go. Remember the store that lost its WPN for a Kek flag? This is the store owner's Twitter. Interesting. Let's take a look here. This is an imager dump. Let's see here. Let's see what type of individual we were dealing with. Bombs today are a big false flag. Right-wing radicals. Bombs never suffer from performance anxiety. False flag package was never in the mail. Breaking. A bomb was just found at my store. The return address traces back to New York gubernatorial Christine Nixon. She may be attempting to assassinate me for the sexual misconduct she may or may not have committed. Wait a minute, so this person's just a literal fucking right-wing troll? Wow, Tim, I wonder why Wizards of the Coast might not want to keep that individual on board. Why Wizards of the Coast, a company that is incredibly large and has to vet the stores that it has licensings with, I wonder what reasons it might potentially have for not keeping that store on board with a store owner that does shit like that. Gee, Tim, I wonder, what possible reason could Wizards of the Coast have? I'm not going to sit here and try to defend every decision Wizards have ever made. Wizards is a shitty-ass company that has done a ton of shitty things with their game. Or it might be Hasbro. Who knows? I don't know. Either way, seems like there's a good reason for taking that situation the way they did. Let's go ahead and just pretend it's just flags, Tim. It's just flags. It's just flags for funny haha, for
Story
lols.
that we've seen in many other organizations and in many other games and cultural icons, and that is wokeification. I've talked about how The Last of Us, the new show, has, of 6 episodes, I think there's 7 now, a third of the episodes are about gay relationships.
Who cares? Are there gay people in the show? Do they have a relationship? Neat. Who gives a shit? It's also one of the most critically acclaimed shows and adaptations of a video game of all time, but you know.
It seems kind of like that's a lot. I mean, look, if you made...
Is it really, though, Tim? How many episodes are dedicated to various other characters' relationships in other media? How many episodes are dedicated to relationships in general in media? A lot. Why is it normal when it's straight relationships and abnormal when it's gay ones? Oh, I know, right? I know. It's because you don't really believe that, Tim. It's because on your channel, you make money by pandering in a very particular way. By calling yourself a liberal, therefore somebody ostensibly on the left in the American Overton window, but pandering to the right. That's what you do, Tim. That's your shtick. You know that.
Ellie, the character in the show, is gay. Okay, fine. She has a girlfriend. Like, I don't really care about that. But then you do...
Do you really not care about that? You seem to be making a big fucking deal about it.
Like 2 in the span of 6 episodes, and it's like, my guy, that's a third of your show just being about gay relationships.
And there are plenty of other shows with plenty of other relationships.
Let's have it be about something else, I guess. I mean, it's fine if you want to make a show about that, but a little heavy-handed.
How is it heavy-handed? You're literally just having people have a relationship in a show. Who cares?
Magic the Gathering used to depict angels and demons and busty, big-tittied women. And it was because they were selling to mostly young guys. All of a sudden, then, they started doing new art where the women were frumpy and ugly. It's kind of weird because the men aren't. They don't make guys that are like, there's a character...
What frumpy and ugly women are you looking at in Magic the Gathering? What? Like, yeah, they aren't showing all of the women as, like, big-breasted comic characters the way they used to all the time. But in what ways are they ugly? Have you seen Thalia?
Or Gideon. They don't make Gideon this frail, gaunt glasses, guy holding a sword.
No, they just burn him to death. They just have him take on Liliana's death pact with Nicol Bolas so that he fucking dies. Spoilers for War of the Spark, noted amazing book in the Magic the Gathering story. Gideon's fucking dead.
They make him a big, ripped, chiseled man. And then they make the women frumpy and ugly. I don't understand why.
Do you want to give us some examples of that, Tim? Do you want to give us some examples of that? That would be interesting to see some actual examples. Because just off the top of my head, in the last few years, I can actually go and find... Let me find her. Let's see here. Frumpy and ugly. All right. Let me go ahead and just pull up just a random ass character from Magic the Gathering. Let's go ahead and pull up Olivia. Olivia, Crimson Bride. Definitely frumpy, ugly, definitely does not have a gigantic rack right there. Definitely not. Oh, let's, mirror image from Jumpstart. Let's go ahead and pull up this card as well. We're just gonna be making up dumb shit. So I guess we'll just make up dumb shit. Let's pull up some frumpy women. Oh, wait a minute. Shit, that's not frumpy. She's just anime and cute and really, really, honestly, I will take both of them. Whatever. Crow, Jesus fucking Christ. Thank you for redeeming your points, I guess. 50,001 points while I'm in the middle of a Sonic onesie, bitching about Tim Pool. Oh, well. Fine. Fine. Oh, but you know what? Hold on. You're right. I forgot about some of the other frumpy women. In Magic the Gathering. Just ugly as sin, not visually appealing whatsoever. Oh, wait, no, it's just the Wandering Emperor, one of the few people to stand up to Nicol Bolas and literally cut his fucking chest out in the middle of a conflict. And yet also, she definitely can step on me. I think I have a thing for women with white hair, is what I'm saying. I have a problem, is what I'm saying. But no, frumpy women, definitely. Ugly, frumpy women, that's what Magic the Gathering's doing now, except for all of the myriad examples of ones in which they aren't doing that. But okay, that was just 3 off the top of my head. That was me just grabbing 3 fucking examples I could think of without even blinking. That's not even going to new artworks of fucking Thalia. Does Thalia have white hair? Am I literally this weak? Am I this fucking weak? Am I actually this level of weak? Not open link, open image in new window. Yeah, Thalia's got white hair. God damn it. That's Thalia riding the Gitrog monster from the new set that's coming out here in, I don't know when. I've lost track. Yeah, there's my weakness again. It's just fucking white-haired fantasy women. I don't know. The one poster girl, Fire Planeswalker, Chandra. Yeah, no, Chandra, noted ugly character in Magic the Gathering. Always. They didn't, like, make a statue of her to send out to card shops for them to have access to. Not at all. But okay. I, for one, welcome our new white-haired overlords. But yeah, no, those are all examples from the last year and a half, Tim. They're all examples from the last year and a half. Yeah, no, Magic the Gathering, noted frumpy women, just ugly women being shown all the time. Except for all the examples of, attractive women we can pull up from there. Even conventionally attractive women we can pull up from the game. It's not hard, Tim.
If you want to be in fantasy, everybody can be beautiful and everybody can be ugly. Now, to be fair, there are male characters that are big, fat, and gross. Don't get me.
So let me get this straight. There are male characters that are big, fat, and gross, therefore undermining the point that you just did earlier. And if I just showed a whole bunch of women that are actually very attractive in recent Magic sets, that undermines your point as well. Crow, thank you for redeeming your points for an... You fucking degen. And also, Victor Alchemist, thank you for redeeming your points for an owl. You feel so sorry for you guys that me and Marjorie Taylor Greene touched this? DNA says I definitely don't have white hair.
How equality means making ugly women. I saw this story, and I had to wonder...
I like how he doesn't give up any examples of ugly women in Magic the Gathering.
Why it is that hundreds of thousands of dollars of this product was just thrown in the trash. And then I thought about, what have I been doing? Well, I recently bought some Magic cards, and I put them in a bag, and then I kind of forgot about them.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I have to show another one of my weaknesses. Because I actually run this girl in my my deck that I've been taking to Pioneer tournaments. Guys, this is Henraka Dominathi, and she can fucking step on me. I don't give a shit. Henraka Dominathi is amazing. So take my word for it, nobody likes these cards I'm not showing you. She's from the Crimson Vow set. I'm okay with her, but that's just me. Hold on, and just to show I'm not bullshitting. Like I said, this is my Pioneer setup. Oh no, look! It's Henraka Dominathi. I have her alternate art because I like alternate arts. But, it's fine, Tim. You definitely just... Ugly women. She's definitely ugly. You definitely wouldn't pay her to face sit you. You guys made me take a kink test. I don't give a shit anymore. But okay, Tim.
I don't really play much at all with anybody anymore. I have several commander decks to style of play that are worth thousands of dollars. Because when I was younger, this game was awesome. Lost all my cards when I was like 13 on a train. That sucked. A lot of really valuable stuff in there. I had a time vault. Wonder how much that's worth today. And a lot of unlimited and revised stuff, but no Moxes, no Power 9. If you don't understand what that means, let me just say, I didn't lose anything too valuable. I just lost my collection. And then I started to rebuild maybe like, 13 years ago or something. And I played more, made some decks, and we used to play kind of all the time. Me and my buddies would get up a poker table. We'd all sit around, we'd order wings, we'd put on a sporting event, and we'd play cards. That was fun.
I still do that. That shit's really fun.
Don't really do that anymore. The
That's a you
game
thing.
is just busted, corporate, plastic, and woke.
I guarantee you the wokeness was never a reason you stopped playing. At all.
Several things happened to the game, as far as I can tell. For me, at least. I don't know about for you.
Okay.
The game became corporate plastic. It was boring. They're trying to maximize profits, so they're doing things like Lord of the Rings magic. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
So wait a minute. You mean capitalism? You just mean capitalism. Tim, you know that the Shredder is in Call of Duty now, right? You know that Venom can fucking hit the gritty in Fortnite, right? You know that everything's a goddamn crossover now, right? Doing collaborative things with various other IPs is what Magic's Secret Lair project has been for the past year and a half. Somebody wants to make a Chun-Li deck so they can step on people. Who cares? Magic the Gathering is doing these collaborations with other IPs because they are the most popular card game in America. Yu-Gi-Oh! Beats it out in certain other regions like Japan, but lo and behold, in America, the place where the game's born, they are the most popular card game. Simple as that. Because they are the most popular card game here in the States, they do crossovers with everything. There is a League of Legends crossover in Magic the Gathering, for God's sake. And League of Legends has its own card game. There's a Street Fighter crossover. There's a Transformers crossover. I have a Transformer in my Myria deck. Magic the Gathering being the biggest card game that has been printed to date in most regions is the reason that they are able to do these collaborations with everything. Because everywhere else is seeing that Magic is making so much money, they want in on it. This is the reason we had the Walking Dead Secret Lair that was made in such a way that we still can't get legal reprints of Rick and Negan. But it's okay, Tim. It's definitely because it's woke, and definitely not because of capitalism. Definitely not.
I think there could be a new game that can fix a lot of the broken mechanics of it. And it got woke. So the combination of this...
You can't even give an example of it being woke besides, Herder, it made some ugly women. Who cares? And again, it's not like they don't still make the attractive women in Magic the Gathering. They do.
Sterile status, meaning it's no longer exciting and invigorating to see a new set. There's no longer this robust feeling of community when, you know, the set comes out and you... Maybe for some people, but not for me. It was gone.
What card shops are you going to? When I go to the... I don't want to say the name of the card shop because I don't want people trying to find me at the card shops that I've been to. It's happened before and it made me very uncomfortable and I don't want to go through that again. But I'm just going to go ahead and say, when I go to a pre-release, the card shop is full to bursting and we have to take over some of the tabletop tables in order to fit everybody in to the games. We have plenty of people playing this game, my guy. Maybe I'm just in the Atlanta region and that's why, but who knows?
And then they started doing the weird wokeness stuff, and I was like...
Like what, Tim?
I gotta be honest.
What woke
I love the
shit?
game. It's fun. It's a brilliant game. It's just boring and uninteresting. It's like, oh, look, you got another, you know, fat, frumpy woman character. It's like, I get
like
it, man.
who? Can you give a fucking example?
But the corporatization of it, the sterilization, is the reprinting of cards. They said they'd never reprint again. The devaluing of certain cards.
By reprinting of cards, they said they'd never reprint again. He's talking about the Magic the Gathering 30th anniversary thing, which was 4 booster packs that were all proxy version reprints of all of the original cards from the alpha and beta sets. That's what he's talking about. Those cards were printed in proxy form, and yeah, the 30th anniversary was a piece of shit. Nobody in the Magic community liked the 30th anniversary. Even people in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Communities were clowning on it, and Konami released a product afterwards literally clowning on the 30th anniversary set, specifically. But Tim, reprints are good. Reprints are good for the health of your game. When the most popular format your game has is no longer standard, which is based on having new cards come in, and the most popular format in your game is now Commander, which is based on eternal cards that have been in existence since the game's beginning, Reprints are good because reprints mean that there are cards and game pieces that can be played with by the players. I've had the conversation a few times. Is Magic the Gathering a collectible first, or is it a game first? And I like to think of it as a game first, which means that getting more game pieces in people's hands is a good thing. When you try to get rid of those game pieces from people, that's not a good thing. Largely, because then the only people who can afford to play with the more fun strategies are the people who have the money to do so. It's why one of the things I do on stream is try to make people cheap decks so that they can play, at least in the Commander format. If you're playing something like Pioneer or Standard, or you're playing Modern, there are budget ways to play those formats, but they are hyper-competitive formats. You're going to run into problems with hyper-competitive players. Commander's not that format, though. Commander is a format that everybody can sit down and play like a board game. All it takes is knowing your way around the cards. I happen to know my way around the cards, so I can literally take somebody's starter deck that they've gotten and go, oh, here's the path you go to upgrade it. One of my artists, actually, Mr. Stopheles, had a Sephiroth deck and said, hey, I have a budget of $15. Can we upgrade this deck with $15? And I said yes. And we got like 20 cards worth of upgrades for that deck for all of $15 fucking dollars. Because I know my way around this game. I know how to make that happen. And that's one of the community aspects about Magic that's so great, is that you can get people in for pennies if there are other people who know the game well enough who are willing to help those people play, who are willing to help those people ease themselves into the game. The community for Magic is pretty goddamn strong. Wizards of the Coast may be a shitty company that's not treating the game very well. This is why competitors like Flesh and Blood have come out of the woodworks and have started giving Wizards a run for their money. But don't worry, Tim. It's all bad because woke. It's all bad because woke. I hope Henrock and Naminati steps
Over. They just try to make money off the fact that some of these things are worth money. So they'll make a set, they'll charge $100 for it. They'll make like a special thing, charge a ridiculous amount of money because they know collectors exist.
Yeah, that's what the complete edition was. Yeah, collectors exist, so they have collectors' items. Constance, I'm just going to go ahead and say something. Don't dirty your feet. There are better things for you to step on.
But I just kind of feel like my collection's at risk with stories like this.
Who gives a shit if your collection's at risk? I'm sorry. I don't give a shit about anybody who's like, but the value of my Magic the Gathering card. No, it's a game. It is a game. Cards being less expensive is a good thing for the health of the game, because more people get to play the game.
Somebody dumped $250,000 in the trash. You know what that means? It means it's not worth $250,000. It means it's trash.
No, it doesn't. It means that a warehouse had a surplus of product because Wizards have been printing a surplus of product, and that surplus of product needed to be removed so that they had the ability to put more product in the warehouse, Tim. That's what that means. Retail does this all the fucking time. Amazon Overstock does this all the time. There is a place in a city north of me where you can go find Amazon Overstock that is dumped there every week. It doesn't mean the shit's worthless. It means that a warehouse needed space.
It means it's worth nothing.
No, it means that space was needed, Tim.
This is what they have done. The game started, I believe, around 1994. It's been around 30 years. It was a lot of fun for a while, but now it feels plastic and woke. Corporate garbage.
I mean, yeah, it is corporate garbage. I can agree with that, but it has nothing to do with it being woke. And you keep saying the game is plastic. What the fuck does the game is plastic even fucking mean? What does that term mean, Tim?
Thus, people throw it in the trash. Now, people are being warned not to go and look for it because, you know, they just plowed over it and destroyed it all.
But, hold on. Tim, my guy. February 26th. Magic the Gathering players tracked down over $250,000 worth of cards in the landfill. They were found, Tim. It wasn't destroyed by a bulldozer. People fucking found the cards. Tim, please, dear God, do an ounce more research.
And there are many people who are shocked. I can't believe it. I think people need to realize something. If someone's willing to dump that much money into a dump, it means it is not worth anything.
That's not what that means, Tim. I don't know how many times I need to say it. It means that a warehouse... Okay, so let me explain it this way. Modern Horizons 2 was a set that came out a couple years ago. This means that if 6 pallets of Modern Horizons 2, and it looks like Unfinity was in here as well, if 6 pallets of that are sitting in a warehouse, taking up space, but those 6 pallets could instead be pallets of, say, Phyrexia All Will Be One, or Phyrexia March of the Machines. Those are sets they know are going to move, because people are buying them now. People are buying them right now. You want to know why people are buying them right now? Because people are playing Commander and Pioneer. There's modern people playing as well, but Wizards of the Coast actually made the premier format for playing competitively a rotation. So right now, the qualifiers for Magic the Gathering have been set in Pioneer mode. This means that the competitive circuit for Magic is based, at least for qualification's sake, on playing Pioneer. So sets like Modern Horizons 2 don't have the same value to players who are actively playing the game right now, because formats like Pioneer and Commander are taking front stage, because formats like Modern are not. And it's also very hard to get into Modern as a format. If I told you, hey, do you want to play this really cool format of Magic the Gathering with me? I've got 3 decks we can all play together. And then you say, I don't want to play Affinity or Hardened Scales or Bogles. I don't want to play your decks. I want to play my own deck. I want to play something. What can I play? And I say, well, you know, there's this deck called Murktide Region, and we could maybe build it. Let's take a look at how much that deck costs. Hold on. Don't worry, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at the cost of an average Murktide Regent deck, and let's see if you can afford playing the Modern format. The format, which, again, by the way, a lot of these ended up being from. Modern Horizons 2, Unfinity, looks like a secret layer was in there. Oh, look at that. That's a bit expensive, isn't it? That's a bit expensive. You sure you want to play? You sure you want to play Modern? You sure that's the format you want to play? I love Modern as a format. I think it's probably my favorite way to play Magic. Here's the problem. It took me a solid year to build my Hardened Scales deck, because Urza's Saga was $50 at the time. Inkmoth Nexus was $50 at the time. I literally bought the deck 1 land at a time over the course of a year, because I couldn't afford it any other way. Now that I've got it, I have my ability to play Modern, but it took me a year to do it. Not everybody's going to have that kind of patience. Not everybody is so fixated on a game where they can do that. But don't worry. Game 2 woke. The wokeness is the problem, Tim. Not everything else.
Maybe this will be the breaking point for the game. Maybe people are gonna now realize, like, it's just gone too far. Get woke, go broke. The stories are busted. They've busted the mechanics. They've just kind of ruined the game, I guess. Take a look at chess. Chess ain't woke. You got white characters and black characters, and white always goes first. Uh-oh.
You're comparing a game that survives off of its legacy versus a game that survives off of new things being added to it all the time. Guys, I have a video I want to show you. Not the entirety of the video. Not the entirety of the video. But at least enough of the video that you'll understand why I think that this is, well, stupid. This is the professor. This is the channel Tolarian Community College. If you have not seen Tolarian Community College, I highly suggest you do, because the professor is a very, very, very entertaining person. And also, I'm going to be honest, he just seems like a good guy. Tim, we're done with your video. I'm honestly bored of it. You have a whole bunch of platitudes and literally nothing to back it up. I can literally bring attractive women from Magic the Gathering's recent history into the argument. All you can say is you can pull stuff out of your ass, despite the fact that you have an entire editing team that can put your shit together for you and give you examples from top to bottom. But Tim, I'm just going to play a little bit of this video. I think it gives a very good explanation whenever somebody tries to say Magic is dying. Magic is dead. Wizards of the Coast has done a new thing and it's going to ruin the game.
I love Magic the Gathering. It is the greatest game in the world. Or rather, I should say it was the greatest game in the world, because the bozos at Wizards of the Coast have ruined it. Forever. Magic the Gathering is dead, and it's all because of the newest set that just came out. Chronicles. They reprinted all the best cards from the early sets of Magic, just so a bunch of new players can have access to them.
Really? What a weird thing that actually did happen in player conversations about the game several years ago. That's okay, though. And continue.
Why? Why would you do this? Now my collection has lost so much value. They reprinted all the very best cards from the very first sets of the game. Craw Giant, Stang, Wall of Heat, and Wall of Vapor. Geez, why not just give new players all the walls for free? And to heck with my collection, right?
So, the Tolarian Community College video here was made well before this rant from Tim. But have you noticed that everything is the same? Have you noticed that the same fucking arguments about reprints and corporate cash grab and the fact that your collection is losing its value, it's all the same shit Tim said? You notice that? It's almost like Magic the Gathering players largely are fucking stupid. And we, as a collective group, being fucking stupid, fall for this type of argument all the goddamn time.
I mean, why collect cards if Wizards is just going to reprint them and ruin the value? It's over. I'm going to go play Vampire: The Eternal Struggle. At least that'll be around forever. Unlike Magic. Well, Wizards of the Coast has killed Magic. Those geniuses have created this thing called the Reserve List, which is a list of cards that will never be reprinted. Excuse me? What? Never? Well, that's it then for the game. What are you going to put in 5th edition if you can't reprint such greats like Two-Headed Giant of Four Eyes and Rock Hydra? Hello? Hello, Wizards of the Coast? Anyone home? Your core set is 100% reprints. If you have a no reprint policy, what's the core set going to look like? With this reserve list, they can't even print an awesome card like Wood Elemental again. Ridiculous. Idiotic. The reserve list has killed Magic the Gathering. So some dude in R&D thought that he could give us a fixed Black Lotus with this new card Lotus Petal? Ha! Congratulations, Mark Rosewater. You just killed Magic the Gathering.
For those who don't know, Mark Rosewater is still currently the leading guy on R&D.
To destroy. It just sucks, you guys. Mark Rosewater is at it again. He's trying to destroy this game. As readers of the dojo were shocked to learn, they are overhauling the rules of Magic with the release of 6th edition. What now? How can they get rid of interrupts? They're just instants now, apparently. And combat is its own phase, and they're introducing this thing called the stack. The stack? What was wrong with batches? Way to ruin the greatest game in the world, Mark.
You get the point. I could keep going, but you get the point. Magic players have this tendency of freaking out about every little thing that happens in the game, and yeah, I'm included in that. I think the overproduction of cards is largely one of the reasons that Hasbro is losing stock, especially where Wizards of the Coast is concerned. I will say this real quick. If you have not followed or checked out Tolarian Community College, please consider doing so. It's a wonderful channel, wonderful fucking guy. I would absolutely love to be on his show or have him on my show at some point in the future. That's probably not going to happen, but it's a thing that I would like. But I bring that up because all the shit that Tim complained about made me think of that. All of it. And honestly, it's kind of sad. It is kind of sad how absolutely on point the satire is to the stupid shit that Tim is saying. The game's dead, guys. It's always going to be dead. Let's ignore the actual evidence of people who are actively playing the game. Not the game's sales figures. I don't give a shit about those. But the actual people, the lifeblood that is keeping the game alive. I can go to any card shop in the North Atlanta area, sit down randomly, take out my suitcase of cards, start shuffling a deck up, and magically, within a few minutes, there will be 3 other players there wanting to play a game, asking if I'm set up for being in a pod, and what kind of power level commander game we're going to be playing. I can do that, randomly. I know this because I've done this. I went to Florida to visit a friend, 2 friends actually. One of them, my friend Renita Chan, and one of them who did the voice of Amy in the What If Shadow Died video that I did recently, and of course my friend Nova. And when I went down there, I didn't spend the entire time with those 2 when I was there. I also spent time just wandering around the various cities that I was in. And some of those cities had card shops. I literally card shop hopped when I had nothing better to do with my time there, because I didn't have anything to work on, so that's what I did. It was very easy to just pop into a place, pull out a deck, and suddenly you're set to socialize with as many people as you want. It took nothing, and it continues to take nothing, to find people to talk to find people to play with, to enjoy the game with, if you just know how. But that's just, one Magic player to one who says that they stopped playing the game well before any of the problems they're talking about ever even came up. What do I know? What do my personal experiences have to do with any of this? I have no idea what I'm talking. Tim, I understand that there's a financial incentive for you to make content like this and to signal to your audience that are largely right-wing, that love the fact that they can watch you and pretend they're watching a liberal. I get it. I get it. I get the appeal. But I gotta say, come on, dude. This shit is cringe. Almost as cringe as a anime fucking VTuber in Slime Girl persona being portrayed by a fat, balding 30-year-old guy wearing a Sonic onesie because his chat forced him to. Almost as cringe as that. You don't have me beat quite yet. That said, that's about all I got for that one. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I know this was a long one, but if we're going to talk about one of my interests, I'm going to go in depth about it, and I'm not sorry about that. You know what you signed up for. I'm a fucking nerd. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, everybody, insert end of video tagline here.